The lone hero leader is a myth that has captured the imagination of many organizations. We've been conditioned to believe that leadership is about a single figure, a person whose vision and charisma are the driving force behind success. This leader is often seen as an almost mythical figure, their presence so commanding that the company or movement becomes inseparable from their identity. The narrative we've been sold is simple. If a leader is strong enough, everything falls into place. But this narrative is also a double-edged sword, one that ultimately leads organizations into a trap. The idea that one leader holds the power to shape the future of an organization is alluring, but it is also profoundly flawed. It implies that the entire success of the organization rests on the ability of a single person to stay relevant, make decisions, and inspire action. The reality, however, is that this approach breeds a fragile system, unstable and unsustainable when that leader is no longer around. It's not a question of if the hero will leave, but when. In a world that moves faster than ever, where the landscape of business and society constantly shifts, leadership that is entirely centered on one person will inevitably face extinction. Organizations that rely on the singular genius of one leader fail to recognize that vision alone is not enough. The visionary leader's legacy doesn't end with them, it lives on through the leaders they've developed. That's the challenge. How do we create a leadership model that outlasts the original leader, adapts to new realities, and encourages sustainable growth? The attraction to the heroic leader is rooted in a deeper human desire for certainty and security. Under such a leader, there is an implicit promise: clarity in an often chaotic world. When a leader speaks with unwavering confidence, the team believes in the vision that they present. There is comfort in following someone who seems to have all the answers, who projects an image of someone in control, decisive, and unshakable. In this vision, there's no room for doubt or discomfort. The leader has it covered. But here's the thing. That certainty comes at a cost. Leaders who hold all the answers also create systems of dependency. They make decisions for the team, and in doing so, they often strip away the agency of those who follow them. This creates an environment where people are comfortable in handing over their decision-making to the leader. In return, they're protected from the responsibility of those decisions as the leader becomes the fall guy when things go wrong. It's a system that feels safe, but it's also one that stifles growth and creativity. So, while the heroic leader model offers short-term success and a sense of stability, it's not sustainable. Over time, the organization begins to crumble from within, reliant on a single figure who can't be everywhere or do everything. When the hero leader steps down or faces their own limitations, the organization is left with a leadership vacuum, unsure of where to go to next. The biggest mistake organizations make in leadership succession is the belief that they can simply clone their successful leader. This is not just a matter of finding someone who looks like the original leader, but rather replicating their visionary drive, their charisma, and their decision-making style. The problem with this approach is that it creates followers who are locked into the mold of the previous leader, unable to lead in their own way. When organizations prioritize leadership cloning, they lose the ability to adapt. The new leader, even though they're competent, struggles under the weight of an unrealistic expectation to recreate the same magic. This approach limits the innovation and evolution that leadership requires. The vision can still remain intact, but it has to evolve within the changing landscape, not just stay anchored in a past model. The best leaders do not try to recreate themselves. Instead, they empower others to lead and give them the tools to succeed in their own way. Leadership isn't about mimicking the original. It's about growing and adapting, ensuring that the core vision remains, but allowing the new leaders to bring their own perspectives to the table. These new leaders don't need to be like the original, they just need to be effective in their own right, capable of steering the ship when the time comes. The reason leadership gaps continue to grow, despite the massive investments in leadership development, is that most programs are still designed to replicate the hero model. The billions poured into leadership programs and the proliferation of coaches and consultants haven't necessarily resulted in better leaders. Instead, they have created a culture of followers, people who are trained to mimic the leaders they admire rather than being given the freedom and the tools to create their own leadership identity. We've built a system that celebrates the heroic leader, and we continue to develop leaders who are supposed to be just like them. The cloning process is insidious because it suggests that leadership comes from a single source, a singular figure whose methods can be copied and applied elsewhere. But this is a myth. True leadership development should focus on building adaptive leaders who understand the need for change and who can evolve alongside it. The future of leadership is not about creating heroes, but about creating a network of leaders who can carry the vision forward and adapt it to new challenges. This means that leadership must be viewed not as a singular role, but as a shared responsibility that can be passed from one leader to another, each carrying the flame but shaping it in their own way. Leadership should never be about holding on to power. It should be about letting go, about building a system where everyone has the opportunity to lead. This system doesn't just keep the organization running when the hero steps down. It ensures that the organization thrives, continuing to evolve and grow in ways that the original leader might have never anticipated. Leadership that empowers others is leadership that lasts.